How is it going, everybody? Welcome to Dungeon Talk Podcast. Today, you will be having the lovely voices of Dysfunctional Moto, as well as myself, the Judgy DM. Let's get started. Papa, can you hear me?
I hear you just fine, Boo Bear.
Nice. How's it going?
It's going good. It's fine, I guess. Everything's fine.
I'm not crying, you're crying.
The whole world burns.
Oh my goodness. So today we have a couple of things to talk about. I swear I'm gonna have to pick up a catchphrase from Mr. Rogers' Neighborhood and implement that into...
It's a wonderful day in the neighborhood.
It's never a wonderful day in the neighborhood, folks.
Not as long as I'm there.
Oof. So, this month's been weird. A little off schedule.
That's for
Because
sure.
what's today? Today's the 9th. So, this past week, we've had Curse of Strahd, Diademia Aftermath, Secrets of Sage Mist, Final Fantasy. Like, we've had a lot going on. But since I got you here, we obviously need to talk about some important events, life-changing events. So, without spoiling anything, in case people haven't seen, I guess the last 2 episodes of Diademia Aftermath, or this past episodes of Secrets of Sage Mist, how did you feel when I came to you and I was like, so bro, do you want to play the villain?
I was excited until what happened.
What do you mean?
I was super pumped, and I had a plan going in, and then they completely destroyed it with their movement. I had like a plan to go in and use like 3 spells in a row, and it was essentially going to take them from, like, my assumption was being a level 10 or playing level 10s, knowing that your HP is roughly like 120 to like 80, somewhere in between there. I knew most of them had less than 100 HP, and then most of them, and like maybe 1 or 2 might have a little more than 100. So I went into it going, okay, if I use these 3 spells like one after another real fast, essentially in one turn, I could have all of them at half HP right off the rip. I just need them in a certain spot. And I had them in a certain spot, but 2 of them decided to use spells that would blind me and freeze me. And that by itself completely ruined everything. So I had to overcome that just to essentially do what needed to be done and get 1 person, which was kind of metagaming, but...
Well, no, because that's why I gave you that spell, because I was like, somebody's gotta die. We already knew going in that Queen and Salty weren't going to be able to make the second session. So I was like, that's fine. We'll just kill you off early. Lo and behold, they just didn't know, like, when it was going to happen.
Or how, or by whom.
Yeah, like, for the most part, a lot of the players weren't getting attached, purposely not getting attached to their characters until, like, I think the day of. I think I got Brent to get attached to his, because I asked him, like, oh, how does your Kinku look? And he went on to this, like, long thing of, like, explaining how he looks and why he looks that way. And then he's like, "Fuck you! Now I'm attached to this guy."
I like his I like Cuckoo. Man, he's cool.
Yeah, Cuckoo's
he
cool.
has a really good. He has some really good spells, and that gun, man, that was a rad effect. Like, I didn't realize that going into it that they were gonna be as prepared as they were. So
they built
I didn't.
their characters to like live.
Yeah, for sure. Like one of them. Who was it? Somebody had a spell that hit me with ice and froze me in place, which is fine. I don't need the movement wasn't all that bad. Like I could have gotten around the movement issue, but the movement plus that Cuckoo's fucking blaster blinding the shit out of me, like that was like the straw that broke the camel's back. Like I couldn't do anything. I was like, okay, if I do this, I'm gonna do it at like quadruple disadvantage, and it's definitely not gonna fucking work. So I have to find a way to unblind myself, but it'd be easier to be able to move, and if I can move, maybe I can rearrange some positions and then still be able to pull this. And it just they did a really good job. That's I mean, that's all there is to it. They really wanted to live, and I couldn't do anything about it.
Like when you were first attacking, I was like, oh my gosh.
Well, I was trying. I didn't.
Punches.
I was for sure. Like I was trying to use cantrips until they got into the position I needed to be in, and then right off the rip they hit me with the blinding and the frozen. I was like, well, I guess I shouldn't have pulled my punches. I just didn't want it to look so overwhelming that they all had no chance of winning right off the rip. I wanted to give them a little bit of hope and then pull the rug, and it backfired on me. I had too much confidence going in.
They're like, oh. So for those that don't know, I guess this is spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Spoiler alert. Boo, boo.
If you haven't watched The Sage Mist,
yeah, you probably
close your
go
ears,
back.
Close your eyes, and go watch it first,
Hide
and then
your
come
kids,
back.
Hide your wife, go watch. But essentially, 2 Mondays ago, we did a Diademia Aftermath episode where Alindi, the captain of the dumpster fire, found out that he is. You have a lot of monarch names. Let's see. You're the Shadowfell Prince, you're the Herald of the Hexblade, you're the Raven Warlock. Like, there's a lot of names out there.
This whole story revolves around me.
Not
I'm numero uno.
Not necessarily. This particular arc has a lot of you, and it's also working in a lot of your other crew, especially as of last episode for Diademia Aftermath. Like, all your crew's got a lot of stuff going on. So
Yeah, that's for sure.
It's gonna be interesting, which we'll get to that when we start doing the recaps. But essentially, like, you've come into like these new powers, and that was fine and dandy, and then the episode of Secrets of Sage Mist came, and like now you're the bad guy. And the cool thing is, well, not so much cool, but the interesting thing was seeing some of the people's reactions, because BMC Peak plays in Secrets of Sage Mist, as well as Queen Corvi, and they both have characters that play in Diademia Aftermath, and they were completely unaware about the fact that I was making you the big bad in this Secrets of Sage Mist. Because like the whole weeks leading up to, and I was like, Queen, you're not ready, and she's like, honey, I'm not even attached to this character, like I'm ready to die. And then, as essentially you were saying earlier, the actual pull the rug under people wasn't so much like you just coming in like blop blop blop, you know, taking folks out left and right. It was more or less coming to the realization of like, what the fuck happened to the dumpster fire crew, to where now Alindi is Like,
yeah, that puts my whole team on edge. So they know,
and
but
they have
their
to, like,
characters don't
play
know.
not
So they're like
knowing.
trying to,
It's so
they're trying to play not knowing, but they can't help but to play a little bit like, okay, my character's gonna be a little more suspect than you every turn we take. I'm like, oh, that's great. Now I look like the real baddie when you don't even know if I'm the real baddie or not.
Mm-hmm. And then I keep implementing things that make you seem a lot more sus
That's
to
not
the rest of
nice.
your crew. Like, you came across that book this last episode, and they're like, so you're getting visions from this book that nobody else can see.
And they're not the greatest divisions. They're just kind of, yeah.
Good times.
It makes me look like a real bad guy, and I'm not a huge fan of it right now. So,
But I like it. I really like it. Like,
that's great.
I
I'm
like
trying to
it a
like
lot.
make friends with these people, and they're like, no, you're not gonna get me. We can't be friends. We can be acquaintances this whole time. What if I'm not the bad guy? What if the school was the bad guy? It was just filled with bad guys, and they all killed our whole crew, and it's their fault. Like, what if? What if?
I guess we're gonna have to find out on the 20th. But yeah, essentially, things are all starting to like interweave with each other, because so going back way back to when you first had a Lindy and Lindy was trash. How have you? How have you? I want to know what your like interpretation of just watching your first D&D character essentially grow into who he is like today. Because as far as like story arcs go, Alindy's had a huge story arc, Coffee's had a huge story arc. Like, there's a lot of the characters in these different sessions, especially like the reoccurring ones, that's had like a lot of character growth. So how would you compare like early Alindy to like current Alindy, and then like future Secrets of Sage Mist bad Alindy?
Old Alindy was a massive dumpster fire, which is the reason that term was coined, was because Alindy was so bad. And him now, he's at least like usable. At first he wasn't even usable, but hey, do this. Nope, that didn't work. All right, well, you're gonna attack? Yeah, nope, I'm not gonna attack either. He's just gonna stand in the corner and then just watch the whole thing go down and then die. Is that okay? Oh, you want me to make death saving throw? No, that's not gonna work. Oh, nope. Yep, nope. It's not gonna work again. Oh, so he's dead? Yeah, he's dead now. Well, we need him. Oh, well, you're gonna have to meta him back to life, because that's the only way he's gonna survive an encounter with the like. Where did we start? I think we started at like what, level 3?
I think so. Because
Okay,
I wanted
so
people
level
to get
3.
Used to their characters before things started popping off. It was either level 2 or 3. I can't remember.
Okay, so I'm pretty sure we started at level 3, but I could have fought an inanimate object with 1 HP and lost. That's how bad Alindy was. And now he can do things, and it's fun to actually be able to accomplish things. Like, the last couple episodes of Dumpster Fire has been more of like character growth and relationship building, and kind of learning the story before we dive into actually going into some kind of action, which was nice, because original Alindy I didn't really have a story for him. I didn't really have a backstory. And then because it was my first time, so I mean, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what was going on. So building him from scratch, making him completely terrible, then growing him to where like kind of talking to everybody and getting input on what I should do to build him has been fun. Making the backstory and giving him some kind of just a way to connect to him has been a huge accomplishment on my part. I mean, not for anybody else. It just like for me, seeing where he's been, I feel accomplished in making him who he is now. Now the Sage Mist boss monster, like if it would have worked out the way it would have worked, the way I wanted it to, it would have been beautiful. But it didn't, and I took lessons from that to be like, just to understand that like it's not gonna work out the way I wanted to. I should probably have a couple more backup plans before I jump into something like that. Because boy, that was an epic video. It's always, every time I play D&D Beyond wants me to die. I feel like this system is just like, I want you to die. This character is just gonna die every time. So the rolls are just really bad.
I think he is trending for the most times down.
I promise you, he has the most downs, and I think I've got the most deaths, like real deaths.
But luckily, like, so that's usually like the big thing that most new players are kind of like intimidated by, is like what happens if my character actually like dies. And I just kind of, had y'all rip that band-aid right off, at least for Team Prime. Like, I didn't do the same thing for Team Machina, but for Team Prime I was like, yeah, these guys might die, here we go.
Yeah, what was it? I think it was like the first episode. I couldn't even live the first time. So, yeah, I'm not scared of dying. I think dying is probably one of the funnest parts of this game. It hurts to watch your character die. I haven't had a character that I could never bring back. So seeing them die is gonna suck and not come back. Mm-hmm. But I think it'd be a cool concept to watch a character completely go. I know a lot of the other guys that we play with, they've had characters that are like, they're done, they're gone, you're dead, and you can never come back. You can go ahead and delete that one.
Yo. Which, so I don't think, let me think. I don't think I've actually had like a main character, like one that I'm playing as the player, like die. I've seen other player characters like die, but I've never been on the receiving end. And I don't know how I would feel like if especially if it's a character that I've been playing for a minute, and then like they get into a situation and they're like, nope, it's done.
Watching one of your babies die?
Yeah, that would be like the worst feeling, because I get fully attached, because I think it'd be so much into him.
Like that's the whole point of like, I feel like that's part of the whole D&D experience, is like watching one of your main characters die and feeling that, experiencing that pain. I think that's probably one of the coolest parts of D&D, because like there's not many other games where, like, for instance, you're playing like, I don't know, Destiny. You Destiny 1, Destiny 2. I delete characters all the time, and it doesn't mean anything to me. Like, oh, I want to start over. Delete. Oh, I have this character in I don't know. Just say you're playing World of Warcraft. Like, I know a lot of people are kind of attached to their characters, but most people don't build their backstory on those games. So like, if it got deleted, yeah, it would suck because you lost all your shit, but you didn't, like, you can just rebuild your character and then press on.
Yeah.
With something like D&D, you've built your character, you've built this whole backstory, and if you get killed off and, in this campaign, you cannot bring that character back. Yeah, you can use it for a different campaign, but like, your character's dead. Like, it's done. Mm-hmm. You've lost him. Like, I think that's one of the cool parts of D&D, is just to be able to experience something like that. It's not something you get to experience in other games.
Yeah. It's pretty fun.
I don't want to lose a Lindy. But when it happens, I'm going to be so sad, but I'm going to be like, wow, this is fucking cool. Name another game that does it. You're over there like,
Well, no, I agree, because like with most other games, the concept of dying isn't so like taboo, because like in Destiny, if you die, you just respawn. In World of Warcraft, if you die, you just respawn. Like, all these games, yeah, you can get, like, attached to the character, but if you die, it's, like, not the end of the world, because it's designed to where
most of the time when you lose a
probably
whole
gonna
ass
die.
character, it's because you've deleted the game or something, but you're ready. At that point, you are ready for them to go.
And
Unlike
even
this, when at any time the DM can be like, I'm going to summon a gelatinous blob, and y'all are all underpowered, so you're all going to die, and you can't use this character ever again. And we're like, oh, no. I put so much time and so much effort. Like, I've put a lot of time and effort into Alindy. Like, it's been, a couple of months now, and I just finished his backstory and put so much effort into it. I even sent you, I sent you all the...
more than a couple of months.
Yeah, it has.
We started this last year, homeboy.
So, finishing up his backstory and actually, writing it down and being like, yeah, I'm going to attach myself to this character. And this is going to be my character, and I want him... Watching him die is going to suck if he ever dies, but I think it'll be... It's an experience you can't have in another game, which is rad.
Mm-hmm. I'm trying to think, because I know I wanted to talk about the recaps. So I was saying this month's weird because I have weekend duty the whole month. So all of our sessions that we normally would have, like Saturday and Sunday, it either, in this case for Secrets of Sage Mist, is getting pushed back to after I get off of work, or it's just not happening. So there's no Tales of Diademia episodes this month, which it's fine because there would only been 2 episodes anyway. And then we technically haven't started Rise of Sage Mist on the Sundays. So this Secrets of Sage Mist is something new anyway. So it's kind of like you're still getting your weekend fix, but it's not necessarily the weekend fix that you're used to getting. What's the sitch? So, and then next week, because Queen's going to be, I think, at Disney.
Yeah.
Correct me if I'm wrong. But because Queen's in a lot of my sessions, with her being gone, I was pretty much we're just going to have a chill week that week. So I'm going to do my road to 200 followers next week. Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, Friday. I'm just going to stream every day and play video games instead of the D&D sessions. So because of that, the week schedule for that, we've been trying to repopulate them into other weeks, if that makes sense. So we just did the extra episode of Diademia Aftermath this past Monday, because normally it would have been next Monday when we actually did it. So we got that one out of the way. We're going to do another episode of Final Fantasy, not this Thursday, but 2 Thursdays from now, 2 more Thursdays, the 24th, whatever the 24th is. And then essentially next week is just going to be, I don't know, me streaming some type of video games, whatever they end up being. I'm probably going to bug you and be like, what you doing? Guess what you're doing now?
we're going to be playing some games. Okay, well, I mean, I haven't been streaming, so I don't mind jumping on and playing.
Nice. But I'm not getting my hopes up because it's more or less just a chill week for me. But that'll be interesting. So there won't be a Dungeon Talk next week. And then this coming Saturday on the Fabled 42, we're doing our dungeon crawl for the Wounded Warrior Project, which should be pretty cool, because I think this is the first time I've been part of a charity event. I know we did our charity event last December when we were raising money for
I forget his name.
Yeah.
It was just a young
That was
young
for,
man who wasn't gonna have a Christmas
was the
essentially.
charity.
Angel Trees.
Angel
I think
Trees?
it was?
Yeah.
Yeah.
So that's technically like the first time I did a charity event, but this is the first time that like someone's like reached out and be like, hey, you want your character to die real quick? And I'm like, what? I swear if my character dies this Saturday, I'm gonna be upset. Because I made a neutral evil Furbolg. And for those that do not know, Furbolgs are usually never evil. Usually. I think good and neutral is like their go-tos. But that should be interesting to see unfold, play. Yeah. Let's see what else. So again, this past week, we'll start from the top. Final Fantasy was pretty good. We introduced one of our new cast members. He plays Bite. He also played Brick this past Sunday on Secrets of Sage Mist. Pretty much salty stormtrooper. Recently joined our community. Is now part of the cast and is currently actively playing in Final Fantasy The Last Ancient as like a mainstay, and then he did this past Secrets of Sage Mist. He won't be able to do the 20th, but yeah, it's cool to have Salty on board because he's a pretty cool cat. Like I like how he's playing Bite, the cat guy, in Final Fantasy, because like it just reminds me of like another Kate Sithy type character. But that was interesting because Final Fantasy's main story is kind of starting to evolve, and they're starting to see that like things aren't quite what they seem, which is always a fun thing to introduce in the first few episodes, because I think they're only on episode 3, so episode 4 will air the 24th. Secrets of Sage Mist, that was our big push for this month. That one's kind of the foretelling and the leading up to Rise of Sage Mist, which is going to be debuting on the 4th of July. But basically, it's like a prequel story to Rise of Sage Mist. So then when we actually do introduce Rise of Sage Mist, we can like hit the ground running, and people can kind of have an idea of like, at least maybe not what the school's like, but like some shit's happened in this place before and some people died, but that was cool. And essentially when I did the Secrets of Sage Mist pitch to all the people that were playing, I was pitching it as like a TPK, so like total party kill, don't get attached to your characters, because these cats probably aren't gonna make it. Like, I mean, if they figure out a way to make their character make it and like it works, then sure. But like, for the most part, I don't have any intentions of keeping them alive. But I was talking to Queen after like that Sunday, because she was like distraught, because she's like, I didn't even get a chance to like do anything. I just died. And I was like, it's not my fault. I gave him the power, but I didn't tell him the order of the power. I was just like, well, A, you're not going to be there for the 20th. So like your character definitely has to die. And then B, like it was only a 2-hour session. So like we had to speed that shit up.
Yeah, I thought I'd have a little bit more time, and then like on top of that, she wasn't supposed to be the first one to die. She was actually supposed to be one of the last ones to die, and it just didn't work out the way I was hoping. And I knew that like I had to kill, like I couldn't move. The only thing I could do was swap places with one of my other guys, and when I swap places, I just happened to be right next to her. She's the one that jumped away from the crowd. If she had just stayed with her friends, like she would have been fine.
Just stayed with us. But yeah,
always stay in a group. If you've learned anything from Scooby-Doo, it's never split up.
They might have been high as fuck, but they was woke as fuck.
They always split up, and bad things always happen when they split up. So
And then this past Monday we did Diademia Aftermath, and that one's kind of opened up a avenue of different plots, because now you have Joseph, who's able to speak with Arya so that she can send sending messages to Coffee in the Tales of Diademia episodes. You have Rhodey, who her character story is kind of gonna go into a thing, because now you're gonna start to see like what the Sage or the Blood Wolf Queen finds interesting about Rhodey and why she was training her for that long. And essentially, for those that don't know and haven't watched the first season of Tales of Diademia to even know like who this Blood Wolf Queen is, and like who Elendi's mom is, and like why is this important, we're starting to layer all the things that didn't get addressed in that first season that were kind of like open-ended plots of things. Because if you go back, there's a point where the crew is at the church and they're talking to Mei Li, and before they leave to end up at that Wandering Emporium, before they leave there, she tells them that have they seen Lady Mesme, because she's been like missing. And one thing leads to another, and like they just don't have the time to go on a search mission for Elendi's mom. Like they got other shit to do. So because that was left open-ended, now I have like a whole year's of Lady Mesme plot to work with and kind of show like what she's been doing the moment that she left that church. And you kind of got to see it this past Monday when she's doing that transition from her title as lady over this chantry or whatever you want to call like Mei Li's group to who she is now. And it's all kind of like starting to layer on top of each other, because now she's just not some crazy woman that's, you know, mad for power. She's like this woman that's hell-bent on a mission. Like nothing's worse than a woman scorned, people, just so you know. Like the party might have not done anything about Vladimir.
There is a hungry woman is worse than a woman scorned, man.
Yeah, I feel like this like scorned part 2. But because the party wasn't like more or less attached to Vladimir when he died, it wasn't really a big deal. And the only one that it might have been a big deal for was maybe Joseph, because that's his father. And he didn't really have a chance to, you know, express, oh, y'all killed my dad. Like, more or less because the crew just...
On the next episode, could Joseph be hoarding anger and hatred towards Elendi?
Which you never... I don't even know if... Because I don't know how much of the details they actually expressed to him, like how close Elendi was to Joseph or to Vladimir before he died. Like, I don't think Joseph has that perspective on it, but I don't think he like blames Elendi, because essentially
it wasn't Elendi's fault to begin with.
Orgy's like, well, yeah, essentially, yeah, it's Elendi's fault, but essentially Orgy's the one that made like the final decision of like killing the guy. And we haven't spoke about this, but essentially when Vladimir, his like essence went into Elendi's bite mark, like essentially that is gone, and we haven't had a chance to show the time frame of when Elendi got separated from the party at the end of Tales of Diademia to even Alindy's whole year of when he was with the Dumpster Fire crew. Like, there's a lot of story for Alindy that still hasn't been told, because essentially we rewinded and now we're back to square one. So that's other stuff that's gonna get like brought up. There's gonna be like flashbacks when he's with his crew and they're going over like different things, and it's cool because now I have like so much wiggle room with the plot. So depending on like, oh, y'all want to go this way? Okay, we can go this way. Oh, y'all want to try this one? Oh, okay, we can do that. So that's gonna be fun. Curse of Strahd yesterday was pretty cool. Lots of people almost died. I think Zashida and Mazera almost died, only because they were fighting a lich and he wasn't holding his punches. And he was wrecking those fools. But it was fun because I was trying a new thing where I wasn't completely homebrewing a character, and I was trying to actually use like a character from actual D&D enemy pool list. Minor tweaks, obviously. Gotta have those minor tweaks just to piss off Paul, but it's fine.
I can see him getting upset
he always
over
gets
that.
so like hell-bent intent on like, you can't do that, what's in the pies? I'm just like, no, it's fine. Just
Isn't it like rule 1 of D&D? There are no rules.
essentially no, like as long as the DM isn't like TPKing you every session, like as long as you can have fun, then yeah, essentially the rules don't really matter. I mean, they do, but they don't like.
Well, there was one session where like I was asking if we could kind of like go out of turn, like I could use my movement while somebody else was doing something else, and as long as the DM says, yeah, that's cool, like I can use my movement and attack while it's somebody else's turn, while they're using their movement and attack, and they kind of go hand in hand with each other. It would essentially skip my turn the next time around, but it's all at the DM's
discretion.
Yeah, it's all at your discretion. So like that's another thing that I like about this game is you can essentially bend the rules. We'll say bend the rules, not change them, but bend the rules to depending on what's going on and what you're doing. So,
and looking back, I've made like so many mistakes as DM of just not knowing like the full-on rules. Like even so there was one time when you as a Lindy wanted to hold your action to do this thing, and then you ended up using Misty Step, and per the rules you can only hold your action to do action things, and Misty Step's a bonus action, and I didn't know that, and I don't think I understood why like the rules have it that way. It's because most of the things that you could do as bonus actions, if you could just hold them and do them whenever you want it, then it could be pretty broken. Because if you hold a healing word, which is a bonus action, and it's
well, it depends, because my Misty Step is also an action. Like I have it in my spells.
Well, yeah,
so
but
either
you can only use it as a bonus action. Like if you go into the spell, it's registered as like a bonus action. It uses a spell slot, but for the action part, it's like bonus.
Oh, I would have, because like I assumed that you could use Misty Step and then a bonus action for.
Oh no. Like essentially so you get like one bonus action per turn and one action per turn, unless you have like extra attack or whatever. That's a whole nother thing. But essentially like you have like slot for each one. You can only do one reaction per turn. But they do it that way just to prevent you from being able to do too many things in like one particular boof, if that makes. Now again, that's also by DM discretion, because there's some dungeon masters that don't really care. They'll let you do 2 bonus actions as a thing, or
essentially allow one of your bonus actions to be an action.
Yeah, essentially. They might not always let it, but like situational wise, they might be like, yeah, that's fine. But essentially it's done that way for a reason, because like, so you have your normal cure wounds, and then you also have healing word. Healing word doesn't require you to touch anybody. However, cure wounds does, which is an action. So if you wanted to hold a cure wounds, that's fine, but it usually means that you have to be next to the person that you're trying to cure wound, which is a complete different situation than if you're just across the room waiting for your buddy to get hit and then use healing word while you're still in like a safe enough distance away from anything else that might be coming towards you specific. So I guess they do it that way just to do things. There was also a session where someone cast invisibility on Queen's rogue, and I forgot, whenever you do an action or a spell or anything of that nature, you come out of invisibility. And she was just invisible for like the whole battle. And I was just like, oh no. A rogue that automatically gets sneak attack every damage. Oh goodness. So that was the learning.
I mean, they could do it. They just have to keep recasting invisibility.
Yeah, essentially, yeah. But I think those are fun things to learn. I like how I've changed as a dungeon master, because before I didn't know like at least 50% of the rules. And we would do things, and then I would find out later on, oh, you probably shouldn't do that. Like, or this is a thing. Like, example for that is literally our first session for campaign 1 back when I was in England. We're all there, and Kevin had a dragonborn fighter, and there was they were doing a rescue mission for one of the little kids that got kidnapped by some gnolls in the village, and they were trying to find her before like it got too late. So they're tracking these footprints or whatever, and it leads them to a cliff, and they're like, okay, they probably went off the cliff and into these woods. So Kevin, not knowing what fall damage is, and me as a DM not knowing what fall damage is, jumps off of this like 40-foot drop off cliff, and like I just tell him to roll an athletics check, and he gets like a nat 20, and he just superhero lands and goes about his business. Noted, if you actually do that as a character, you get what's called fall damage, because you just jumped off of a freaking cliff. So that was fun to learn about. And I was like, oh, fall damage, I guess that's a thing. And there's been so many instances where I finally understand why Matt Mercer is always like, read your character sheets, folks, because there'll be instances where they're doing a session, blah blah blah, and then one of the guys or girls will be like, oh, I could have totally avoided damage on this one thing because I have this feat or this perk or this thing that's in my character sheet that lets me get like advantage on this, or like completely be immune on this. And he's like, read your character sheets, folks. And he says it like that because essentially like he's not going to memorize all 6 to 7 people's character sheets and know them in and out. Like, he's pretty good about knowing them, but he's not going to know every in and out of your character, especially as you're leveling up and you're getting new perks and stuff. Like, that's not his job, more or less. I mean, it is, but it's also not. Like, you as the player kind of have to know what your character can do, and
be honest about it.
Yeah. And we've all been there, I guess. Paul's been in a situation where he's technically had advantage on saving throws for like dexterity things with his barbarian, completely forgot they were a thing, and like just rolled regular and failed and essentially like put his guy in the downs and outs a little bit more than. So it's fun as players because now, like, going forward, like, Paul's never going to forget that he has advantage in this situation. And I'm never going to forget, like, fall damage is a thing. And, like, all these things are, like, trickling in. And you've had, like, experiences where, like, you forgot or didn't know that they existed. And now you're in a position where, like, yep, that's a thing. So, or freaking Desmodo making a warlock that doesn't have Eldritch Blast.
Leave me alone. We have repressed those memories and we don't talk about those things.
I mean, some are cringy. Like, you're just like, oh, I can't believe I did that. How is your best stat averaged? Like, why aren't you good at charisma?
My best stat was like a +3. It was so bad.
Oh my gosh. I was just
my
like,
armor class, my armor class was like a
you
10.
were a 13 for so long, and I'm just like, bro. What? I think when you first started out, you were like a 10 because you just averaged your dex and didn't know that it actually contributed.
I averaged everything. I was like, I'm just gonna be a badass across the board. Average everything. Hell yeah, watch this shit. And then that backfired so fast.
Literally, first few rolls, you're just like, oof. It's fine.
I didn't know that you could roll for your stats, and rolling for stats came out a lot better.
That was essentially because I didn't do, in the first campaign, I didn't do roll for stats because some of the guys rolled for stats and, like,
epically failed?
No, their stats were just, like, way too good. Like, they had multiple 20s in certain things, and, like, because of it, I had to, like, curtail the enemy. There were so many enemies. Like, there were wolves that had hundreds of HP, and I'm just like, these are regular wolves, but essentially, to keep this battle going for longer than like 2 rounds, I have to give them way more HP than they ever would ever have ever. And
I think my highest roll was a 19.
I think my biggest mistake as a DM was giving Paul, FNH Paul, a Donar Great Axe that did 1d20 damage. And that was because I didn't understand what I was saying. Like, I was thinking a completely different thing than what I thought I was giving him. Which is why you should always read character sheets.
So he was OP.
Yes. Like, everybody in the party hated that fucking axe. Like, because he would hit, like, I think it was like plus 20 to hit, which is never heard of. And then
so he'd always hit, and then he'd always do
like
a massive
plus
amount
20
of
to his damage. So no matter what, he's at least hitting you for 21, like, on a bad day. So these enemy sponges, I have to say enemy sponges, that just had like buku's amount of HP was more a reflection of the fact that now there's this barbarian that has a really OP axe. And I was just like, yeah, I'm gonna have to fucking nerf that thing. So I had him fight Kevin with his possessed, like, greatsword, and then the sword ended up cracking the axe, and then, like, that was pretty much it. No more Donor Great Axe. You can use it, but it doesn't do what it used to.
It's gonna do a +1 now. Fuck you.
Now it essentially does less damage than the actual Great Axe does. But it's fine. Yeah, so the cool thing was, before I actually made the axe, was how he got it. And it was like this barbarian versus barbarian fight, and they couldn't use any spells or anything or any magic or any weapons, and they just had to, like, brawl it out. And he ended up winning, and it was like a cool thing. It's like, yeah, and he's like, yeah, you can have this axe. Probably should have carteled the requirements for it a little bit before.
Or just chose a different axe.
Yeah. That's why you don't homebrew everything.
Hey, can Alindy get a dagger that does like plus 20?
No.
Oh, well, that's just rude. Trying to think. I think
your Lucifer.
It doesn't do any more than my dagger does.
Yeah, but it has special properties.
Correct.
Which I don't think you use.
I haven't used it yet.
Okay.
Every time we've gone to like get into a fight, we've essentially diverted from the fight and become friends with whoever. The only time we fought was whenever we were fighting my mother, and then I was trying to keep distance because I was surrounded the entire time.
And note it, I've kind of went lax on Diademia Aftermath because I've given y'all like the chance to explore and kind of like develop your relationships with each other, which is cool. But I'll probably amp it up a little bit more in the next session and actually have y'all fight some. So then we can see how y'all fight as a team now, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
But that'll be fun. Trying to think. Later this week, we are going to have, what is it? Meanwhile in Waterdeep, which we're going to introduce the Contest of Champions, which is going to be a cool like PvP thing. Obviously this Saturday it's going to be that dungeon crawl under the Fable 42, which is all day. Just Saturday when you wake up, just turn it on, leave it on, and then you'll see me at the end, and I'll come in, and I'll be like, hi. And then I'll die, and I'll be like, bye. And then the week after that, Monday through Friday, I'll be streaming just regular video games, pretty much. I'll try and keep it around the 12 to 3 p.m. Mountain Standard Time, just to not go too far outside of my normal schedule. And then that Sunday will be the second episode of Secrets of Sage Mist, so that'll be fun. And then the week after that, we'll start to get back into our normal routine, but we won't really see our normal routine until July hits, and then we're finally on that three sessions a week thing and Dungeon Talks, which will be fun to finally see. I'm excited because the artist that is doing the artwork for Rise of Sage Mist, he's finally he's got like all the prerequisite layout line art work done for I think all the characters, so now he's doing like the refined detailed line art, and it's all, there's two or three that are done, and yeah, it's gonna be cool because I'll be able to implement that into our overlay, and then that's also gonna be one that's webcam, so it'll be fun to see all that come together. But yeah, good times.
A lot going on.
We're gonna get you there too. We're gonna have you doing podcasts on your channel. We're gonna have
you. Yeah, we'll see how that works when the baby comes, because I don't think that's gonna be feasible.
It's gonna be like babysitting with Dismodo.
It's gonna be like a bouncer right here. I'm gonna shine a light on it. The baby gonna be sleeping.
Oh, the father that thinks the baby's gonna be sleeping.
Hey man,
Optimism.
I can hope, I can dream. Whether it happens or not, we'll see. Probably won't, but like I said, I can have my hopes. I can have my dreams. Baby and the bouncer.
So
I'm gonna be right here.
Is there anything that you wanna, like, do you have anything to promote or anything that you want to talk about or anything on your mind that you can think
No.
of? Nothing?
Nope. Nope. I'm not even gonna try and promote myself.
Wow.
Because I am the dumpster fire. I don't want to bring your channel down.
Dumpster fire. I swear, you need to make a podcast called The Dumpster Fire, and it's just like, so this past week, it's just like, it'll be the webcam on like, you know, your room or whatever, and then you'll just like, oh, fall into your chair. This week on The Dumpster Fire. And you're like,
here's the story of my dumpster fire of a life. Welcome. We'll start from square one. I was an accident. I wasn't supposed to be here originally.
Oh, no. Good times. But yeah. I think we have enough to raid. We will transition here to the ending screen because I always push the wrong one. I literally do, bro. Like, I'll be pushing, oh, be back soon. And they're like, it'll be on there for like 2 minutes. And they're like, you're on the be back soon screen, Stacks. And I'm like, fuck.
You don't have your, if you're not going to set up your, what's that called? Your stream thing?
Stream Deck?
Yeah.
So right now, I don't have my Stream Deck programmed properly. I do kind of. I just don't have it plugged in. B, I'm probably going to end up doing like a reformat of my computer setup here eventually because I want to get another screen.
Are you still only working with one?
I have two, but essentially I want to get more, and then I want to be able to turn my longer screen like upwards, so then it'll just be like my my feed or whatever, like chat feed, so I can look over to the chat a lot easier without looking all the way over. But yeah, that's future me problems, set up things, and then I want to work in my actual cameras for my webcam rather than my webcam camera for my webcam, which would just give me better camera quality. But I have to get like a what's it called, tripod for that and everything, and then better lighting and all.
You just buy you an arm.
I already have an arm for my boom mic.
That's what I'm saying. Buy another boom arm that is rated.
I want to look like Dr. Octopus over here. Got boom arms hanging all over the place. Got arms holding up my TV screens. Like,
I have 4 boom arms right now. 2 to the lights, and then 1 to the camera, and then 1 to the mic. And it's nice if you want to like adjust your camera angle. Say you don't like the camera angle, you don't have to fight a tripod. You literally just move the camera wherever you want it to. You can even like set it to where the camera is sitting like in front of one of the screens if you want, like depending on what angle you want. It's so much nicer. I promise. Just get 1 more boom arm.
If only there was a Dismodo Tech Talk podcast that could walk me through all this stuff.
I know, right? That'd be great. You know what? There's like 5 million of them on YouTube, so.
Nope, don't count.
It does count.
Nope. Here we go. F&H Paul streaming some Mass Effect. We are going to go say hi, and then I'm going to go take a nap, and then I'm going to wake up and join me later today on the Fable 42 as I play Whisper, the Hexblood Warlock, who's going to be on a revenge mission. But yeah, we will see you next time. Bye, bye, bye.
Okay, bye!